Hello to another Q&A video. There were a couple of questions that I want to answer, of course. Most of these questions were sent via my blog into thevortex.tumblr.com, and one was here on YouTube. Um, the one here on YouTube about my audio setup, I said that I will make a video. Actually, I did make a video. I just simply didn't post it um, because I don't think if that there's so much value in it to just show you I have this, I have this, I use this, and I use that. Especially since in these videos, in these readings videos, daily readings videos, it's not really very interesting, I guess, because I'm recording directly into my camera, the Canon EOS 90D, and I record with a condenser microphone. By the way, the microphone that you're hearing now, I don't know if you noticed, this is a different microphone than what I usually use. In case you noticed, I'm curious. I'd really love to know if you realized it because it looks different or because it sounds different. Did the sound in this video strike you in any way that it's so much better than the one in the other videos, or do you say, it's so much worse? Did you notice a sound difference? This is what I'm really interested in. So I will probably talk a bit about that microphone at the end of the video. So if you have, or if you'd be so kind to share whether you noticed something about the sound, then in the comments on YouTube, I'd be really grateful. So yeah, with that having said, and this kind of is also connected to a different question that I got on my blog about whether I do something else audio wise or well, reading wise, other than these daily readings that I put on YouTube. And so, yes, I do different stuff as well. And I also think that it's more interesting to show my equipment because that's how I see it. My equipment is just equipment. These are tools. This is nothing to brag about. Well, my equipment is nothing to brag about anyway because it's nothing really extraordinary. I think I put together a really cool array of very affordable equipment that gives really good quality. But I prefer to show it in action. So what I will do is, because currently I'm working on a one of my audio stories. So this is something I do or have been doing for now about 6 years or something, that I record my own short stories. So short stories that I write myself and I record them. Sometimes I put music under them, sometimes even sound effects, etc. So let me do it this way. I think this is more interesting for both sides, right? For me, it's more interesting, and for you, it's probably more interesting because you see what I'm doing. And there's more involved than in these daily readings videos, because in the daily readings videos, I just sit down, right? And I record, and there's no processing going on. There is the recorder that I use to power the microphone or the microphones. It has a built-in limiter that I engaged, right? So that in case I get too loud, that the sound doesn't clip and distort. And there's a high-pass filter, so a low-cut filter, to get at least rid of a bit of the low frequency rumble. There's a train station outside. So this is also something I think very important. Most important thing about sound recordings is the room. And this room is not ideal. It is okay. This room has I see I have there's something in the background that I usually don't have here. This sound is okay because it's comparatively quiet, at least quieter than the other rooms. It still has a bit of reverb, which is not ideal, but okay. It's an okay room, I guess. I probably wouldn't record music in here. So, with that having said, I will show you in, I think, a couple of episodes, even the equipment that I use, the microphones that I use, because I use different microphones for different occasions. I will show you because I have specifics, well, everything, right? Headphones, speakers, software, all of that, pop filter, all of that. So yeah, what do? I do record my own. I started about 6 years ago or something recording my own short stories. But I started recording them because I had the possibility to do that. Lots of people, of course, say I want to record my own stuff, and so I have to get the equipment, and I had at least a bit of the equipment already because for well, job reasons. I sometimes have to do voiceover, video voiceovers. Rarely, usually it's when the budget isn't there for any more people involved in the project. So sometimes that's how it started. Can you do that? Well, I'm not a voice actor. I do have some acting experience, of course, right? I have been doing theater for almost 20 years of my life, both on stage, both backstage as well. I directed, I was assistant director, I wrote for theater. So, and please, I hope you don't mind the noise too much outside. And that's why I wanted to sit down to record the next episode. I think today it's From the Earth to the Moon, but there was just too much noise outside, even more than usual. I hope it will go away. So I thought to do this Q&A thing. So yeah, that's what I did. Right. I studied dramatics. I'm sorry, dramatics, and I have been doing theater for, yeah. And that was the first time I had to do a voice recording. This is a funny story. I think I can tell that story. This is a funny story because during while I was in university, I met someone who over time became a very close friend of mine. We're still in contact, even though we live miles and miles and miles apart. Sometimes, very rarely, write with each other, but still, it's kind of it's cool that these things last, right? And Christy, we went to the same class. Think it was a Shakespeare class or something. And she somehow asked me whether I'd be interested to take part in one of her theater project that she was about to do. And I said, yeah, of course, right? Assuming that she needed someone to play a role in that. And it turned out we went to have a coffee, and it turned out she needed someone for like the technical side, right? Light and sound and all. And I hadn't done anything like that before, but I was interested. And so I said, yes, sure, of course. And so, and we talked a bit, and I said, well, see, if there's a small, tiny little role, maybe you have some if that will work out, right? And she said, well, now that you say it, because there's this let me think, and I saw like kind of the little cogwheels in her head started spinning, which was really an interesting thing. And she said, well, because there's like there's this girl that I asked to and I thought, okay, what is she about to say? She said, well, you see, there's this girl, and in the play, there's the role of the devil, and she's perfect for that role. The way I want to stage this whole. I'm sorry, I've got something in my eye. I want to stage that, right? And she is perfect. She's red hair, is kind of, it's a very smaller type, very slim, and I think she's perfect for playing the devil. But she never called me back. And she said yes, she wants to do that, but she never called me back. So I'm not really sure whether she will do it. And it's like 2 weeks that I'm waiting for a call. So maybe you can do that, which was kind of funny. So she asked me to play the devil in a play that she intended the devil to be a woman. And I said, well, why not, right? I mean, if she doesn't call you back, right? And so, and then it was a beautiful sight, and I saw, right, everything else. Even more cogwheels started to spin in her head, and he said, well, because see, in this play, there's also God, and and that's why I was so keen about that girl with the red hair to play the devil, because the guy who's playing God also has red hair, and he's really big, right, and kind of chubby, right, and has red beard and long red hair, and a huge guy playing God, huge redheaded guy with a red beard playing God, looks like a Viking, right, playing God, and that slim girl with red hair playing the devil. That would be perfect. But I'm not even sure if he will do if he will do that. And he said he wants to do it, but I'm not sure whether he really can do it. And I said, yeah, that's a shame, right? And so she said, and I have to say that Christy, my friend Christy, is also she's a tall woman and blonde. Back then she was blonde, platinum blonde, but short platinum blonde hair. And I have dark, long hair, compared to even longer. I had it longer than I have it now. And she said, wouldn't that be great? Like, if I play God, the big, no, she didn't say big, she said large. She's not big, she's large. The large, tall, not large, tall, not large. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Christy. I didn't mean that. That tall blonde woman, right, platinum blonde woman with short hair. And she said, let me play, I will play God in my own play. And you play the devil. How perfect is that? Because I'm very, very lanky, right? And she's like one of these Valkyries, right? From really, it's a tall woman, kind of really. And that she said that would be perfect, but I cannot do that. And I said, why can't you do that? This is perfect, right? This is absolutely perfect. And she said, well, because she's Hungarian. And she said, I have that thick Hungarian accent. I can't play God with a thick Hungarian accent. And also she has kind of a lisp. And she said, God with a woman playing God who has a woman with a Hungarian accent and a lisp can't play God. And I said, why not? That would be awesome. And that would be absolutely awesome. But she didn't want to do that. And then so we started to develop the ideas. And this was what I really miss about her being so far away, because it was such a creative environment. And we hardly knew each other back then, right? And so over the time we became really close friends. And we did a couple of stage plays together. And so it ended up that I didn't play. She played God on stage, but was completely silent, didn't speak. And the voice of God came from the PA, from the speakers. And I was also the voice of God. So I had, in the play, I had dialogues with myself. So I was talking to her, but my voice my voice of God came from the PA, which was really it was crazy and it was amazing and it was wonderful. So that's what we did. So that was the first time I had to record voice recordings, and back then I didn't know anything about audio. It was like, I don't know, 15, 17 years ago, something like that. And so I went to buy to buy stuff because we couldn't afford studio time. We were poor students back then. It was easier. It was cheaper to simply buy a microphone. So I bought a microphone, and which was, now I know that, well, it wasn't even the wrong microphone. I wouldn't use it today, but it would have worked if back then I knew how to. Well, it did work kind of, but it was kind of, yeah. So that was the story, right? And so that's what when I started to learn about audio production, and later I went to film school and I had some audio classes, which kind of, I realized back then, I realized, okay, that's how it works. That's why it didn't work out the way I wanted to. So so now again, I would do it differently. I would take one of the microphones one of these large diaphragm condenser microphones, um, post processing, compressor, right, equalizing, and all that. Maybe a bit of reverb putting later on. So that would have. But okay, we didn't know any of that back then, 17 years ago. Now I know if I were to do something like that again, then I would do it this way, probably. I'm so yeah. So this is video voiceovers. I have been doing tutorial kind of videos, both for photography on my other channel. I had been doing video voiceovers for, I think I mentioned it, educational videos, because that was for quite a time my job, producing educational videos. I did it for very few occasions, did video voiceovers for advertisements, but I'm not a voice actor as in for advertisement. I don't think I have the right voice for that. I think I have a very distinctive voice, a comparatively unique voice, but yeah, I don't think that I have the advertisement voice. So yeah, that's what I do. Another question, and I think how much? 17 minutes. So one more question that I got is whether I will read the other books of the other Oz books by L. Frank Baum. I'm thinking about doing that because I really enjoyed reading The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. I've really thoroughly enjoyed reading these books. This book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. So I'm considering to read those books as well one day. Same goes question that I received whether I will read the other Alice books. My thoughts about Alice, I put them down in my video in which I wrapped up my reading of Alice. So I thoroughly enjoyed reading this book. I still don't really understand the story behind it because I don't think there is a story. I did a bit of research later, and so I think this whole book lives or exists on these references that Lewis Carroll put in there. The references of that time. So all the characters were kind of caricatures of people known back then, which I didn't know, right? I didn't know these people, but apparently people in that age knew who was meant by that, and so they probably, it was rather kind of a comedy show, right? A satire type of thing. It isn't, and this is what I mentioned in the video. I guess that this whole book is not really about this story because there's no real story, but rather about the characters and the quirks and the crazy things that are going on. So sure, I'd be happy to read these other books, these follow-up books one day. There's a thing. I mean, I think doing because currently, depending on when you watch this, currently I'm reading Moby Dick, and I'm about one third through the book, and I also read From the Earth to the Moon by Jules Verne, which I'm also kind of a third through. From the Earth to the Moon is a much shorter book, so Moby Dick will accompany me quite some time. But after I finish Jules Verne's From the Earth to the Moon, I will certainly you read another book. I don't know yet which book to read. Maybe it will be, I don't know, you tell me, right? What do you want to hear? There are a couple of books that I'm limited, of course, to books that I'm allowed to read legally, right? So books that either are in the public domain, or if someone who has the rights, who owns the rights to a book tells me, yeah, read that, right? Like the I don't know how that is. So I have to stick to books that I'm allowed to read. So, and I think also, please tell me, right, if that is okay for you. I think it's a good thing to have two books at once because not everyone has the time to listen or watch like 20 minutes of reading every single day. I mean, I know how hard it is for me to take the time to do these readings every single day. So, okay, I mean, I get it. Sitting down, doing a reading is a different thing than just having something played in the background, I guess. But still, I mean, and I think this is also the right time to say a big thank you to all of you out there who really take the time, who spend their valuable time on my readings. And I mean, on the other hand, I guess that you wouldn't do that if you wouldn't enjoy it, at least to an extent. But I really have to say that, and I want to say that I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And so, because I don't take this for granted that you take the time, and so I do really do my best, and I'd really try to give the best that I can. And so, um, and I also want to thank you for being there and for sticking around because this kind of gives me the kick in the butt to do it. There was so many days when I said no, I can't do it. I don't want to do it today. I don't know. My head is so my head explodes and I'm tired and I can't do it. And then I said, no, I want to do it because there are people who enjoy listening to that. So um, you keep me going, and this is what I really appreciate. And so, yeah, let me know what is it that you want to hear. I have a couple of things. There are also a couple of short stories I'm thinking about. No, let me first finish what I started, right? I don't think that everyone has the time or even wants to spend the time every day to listen to a reading. So I think it's a good thing to switch between two different books. Would it be a good idea to read three different books, so only every third day? And I don't know. I think every second day is a good thing. But let me know, right? That's what the comments are for on YouTube. Let me know what you think. There are a couple of shorter stories that I will definitely read. So maybe also let me know what you think. Maybe it's a good idea to do, like, I don't know, on a Sunday, do like once a month or every second Sunday, or maybe even every Sunday, do a reading of a short story, a longer reading of a short story. So, like, there are short stories that are like half an hour or three quarters of an hour or something. So maybe do that on a Sunday. Do a Sunday reading, maybe a bit more, not just really sitting down and just reading it. So, but really doing it with a bit more audio processing. So, um, maybe with different camera angles, so that there are no slips of the tongue that inevitably happen in these daily readings, so that I can cut them out. So maybe a bit editing there. So let me know what you think about that. I want to read Sherlock Holmes. Definitely want to read a couple of Sherlock Holmes stories. I want to read um, yeah, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle stories. Poe. I have two Poe readings on my channel already. Maybe other horror stories from that time, bit darker stuff. The Call of Cthulhu, maybe H.P. Lovecraft, and other stories by him. So they are all in the public domain. I'm aware that not all Sherlock Holmes stories are in the public domain, at least not in the U.S. So I have to be a bit cautious with that. But there is a book by Mark Twain that I definitely will read one day. It's a Connecticut Yankee on the court of King Arthur's court. I think that's the name. It's a time travel story. I read the first chapter and it's hilarious. I really thank you, Sharon, for suggesting that. So that is a book that I will certainly read one day. And I only read the first chapter because I want to read this book the way I read these books, right? So I want to do that. I want to read the chapter when sitting down and filming it. So yeah, these are things. Now about the microphone, in case, and I hope you didn't find the sound of that microphone too horrible. If so, I'm sorry. This microphone is about a tenth of the price than the microphone that you usually see. So, or hear. So you decide. I think it sounds good. I think this microphone sounds good. It's the Marantz MPM 1000 Pro or Professional that I bought by accident. Cost me $50. So no, the microphone that you usually see doesn't cost $500. This one, let me explain. This one costs $50 with a shock mount, with a cable, with a desk stand, with a windscreen. So all in all, the whole thing about $50. And so if we only talk about the microphone, I guess you can get it for like $20-30. The microphone that you have seen and heard in my last daily readings was or is the Neat King B, which was originally priced at around $300 to $400. I got mine for just short of $100, but it was originally priced that way, and it is worth every cent. But here's the thing. I mean, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Oopsie. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get decent sound. And I think this microphone sounds pretty decent. And so if this didn't really throw you off, and you said, well, it sounds terrible compared to the other microphone, then there's no excuse for not having at least decent sound. And with that, I'll wrap up for today. I will jump now under the shower and then hopefully do a reading because I guess it has become silent now. So bye-bye. Till next time.